Coming up on today's Cooking Crave, we got a recipe. When you have mashed potatoes and don't know what to do with it, got an interesting one for you. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Rhonda Fitterer.
And I'm Laverne Didi.
And we got a couple recipes today. Shepherd's pie. I know that when I think of that, I think of going into an Irish pub, and that's what I think, you know, have a beer and shepherd's pie. But it's always very tasty. Yeah. And you have leftover mashed potatoes. This is an alternative recipe for you.
Right.
So get your pieces of paper out, your pens, and cook along with us. Pause your DVR if you got one, so you can go grab that stuff. What you're going to need to make the shepherd's pie is a pound of ground beef. You're going to need 3 tablespoons of butter, a chopped onion, a medium onion, half a cup of diced carrot, half a cup of diced celery, 2 tablespoons of flour, a cup of chicken broth, a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. See? That's the Irish thing, you know.
Yeah,
I think
you can say that.
a half teaspoon of salt, 1.5 cup frozen peas, and 2.5 cups homemade garlic mashed potatoes, because I know you made them homemade this time.
Yes, I did.
And then a half cup shredded sharp cheddar cheese. So that's going to be awesome.
Yes.
I can't wait for that, because I know it's going to be good. And then when we get to the recipe, we have a cheesecake for you. And it's a no-bake cheesecake if you choose not to bake your crust. But if you choose to bake your crust, just still tell people that it's no-bake cheesecake, because you're not have to bake the cheese part.
Yep.
That's the whole catch. You need 2 packages of cream cheese, 8 ounces each, a cup of vanilla chips. So this is a little bit different recipe.
It is.
This is going to be nice. And then Cool Whip. So very easy.
It is very simple, but it's very good.
Well, absolutely.
Yes, so.
And then, of course, you know, you got your crust. So we'll talk about our traditional crust when we get to that.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
All right, so how do we get started here?
We're going to come over here to the stove. I did just put my oven on just on low here, and we're going to brown our hamburger.
Okay.
Or, you know, just to cook it until it's not pink. And just kind of chop it up a little bit here. And then we'll transfer that into a bowl, and then we're going to saute our onions and carrots and celery. And then we finish it up with our chicken broth and this stuff.
You call it the W sauce, which, you know, when I've seen different chefs talk, they don't always spell out the name because they can't say it either. So I think they should actually change the name just to the W sauce, and we'd all be good.
That sounds like a plan. See, if we change that, our viewers will know what we're talking about. So
well, I think they already do, but
maybe they just like to laugh at how I cannot say it or how I say it. So, oh well, we like to give our viewers a little chuckle once in a while.
Sure.
Okay. So we're just getting that here, and that won't take very long. And this is just a pound, okay, of ground beef. And it doesn't even ask to, you know, season this at all.
Well, we got a lot of stuff going in here, so it's not just, you know, with your chicken broth and the Worcestershire sauce.
Yes, all of that in there. So, yeah. So. And this will be something fun, and this is something you can easily put together the night before, or you know, prior to, you know, earlier in the day if you wanted to make it and you needed to, you know, you were going to be gone and you could come home and just pop it in the oven. That's what's nice about, you know, some of these things that you can pre-plan, and so when you get home, your supper's not going to take very long.
Well, there's a lady that I work with that she doesn't get a chance to make meals during the week, so she does all her cooking on the weekends, and so she has it all ready to go and ready to pop in the oven. And so this would be one of those that you could have in your freezer.
It would be.
Pop out and
yeah. It would freeze very well. That's what's nice about this too. It would freeze very well. That, you know, you wouldn't have to worry about that, and I would just, you know, make sure you put it in a, you know, a well, it's not even quite a 9 by 13 pan for this, you know, that you'd put that in Something you pop in the freezer and put in the oven and all of that. I almost kind of forgot what size pan that they did tell us to use. It says 1.5 quarts glass pan.
Okay.
So, okay, that's just about where I don't have much pink left in, and that's all we need to do is make sure there isn't any pink left.
And so it's not going to take long to assemble this. And what was the baking time on this?
The baking time is 30 minutes.
So it's really not that. It's not
No.
going to take. You'd have a
Yeah.
meal on your table in under an hour.
Because this is hot when we're going to make it. We're putting it all together and it's going to be hot. If you would make it prior and you had it in the freezer or even just had it in the refrigerator, you'd probably want to add maybe at least 10 minutes to your baking time.
Okay.
Okay, so this is good. What we're going to do is we're going to come over here and I'm going to just,
You need to empty it. Or...
I'm going to put it in this bowl here.
Okay.
Because we're just going to keep adding to the bowl here and mixing up our ingredients.
But we need to saute our vegetables. We don't just put them in raw into the hamburger.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm just going to use the same skillet.
Okay.
That's why I'm going to just put that in this bowl here. And so we'll come back over here. And I better take my spoon. And what I'm going to do now, I have it says 3 tablespoons of butter. We're going to just put 1 tablespoon of butter in here. And this is what we're going to use we're going to first put our onions in here because the onions we want to saute maybe just a couple of minutes before we put in the carrots and celery.
Okay.
And the sauteing time is like just a couple of minutes just to start getting your vegetables a little tender.
Okay.
So when you're in the oven and they're baking, that they are all going to be done about the same time. And like I say, it just says use a medium onion, chopped. Get that going. And it says a couple of minutes till your onions start to kind of get softer, a little translucent,
Okay.
as they cook, but that doesn't very long. And actually, carrots take a little bit longer, for sauteing than celery. So I'm going to just get this nice and hot. Then I'm
Okay.
going to put that half a cup of diced carrots in here first. And again, with any of this, you don't have to be exact with measurements with your celery, with your carrots. If you like a little bit more vegetable in it, just go ahead and add it. That's the beauty of, cooking and not having to worry about being exact with
Right.
recipes and stuff. So,
Well, I'm sure there's people that still have their garden carrots. That's different recipe here again. Give it a try.
yeah, absolutely. And and if you're a little short on something, you can just increase the other one, like the celery or whatever. So we're going to put that. So then after we've got this sauteed, we're going to add this to the hamburger.
Okay.
Because then we're going to mix a little bit of butter and flour and the chicken broth
Oh, okay.
and the W sauce
Yeah.
in there, and so it makes it nice. You start with your skillet and have a big bowl, so you don't have to use make another one dirty. It's just as easy to wash one big bowl as a smaller one, but then you don't have to worry about having 2.
Right.
So.
And when you don't have a dishwasher, that's important.
Yeah.
Gotta give you grief about that.
Yeah, you can give me grief about that, but I still not sorry that I don't have one.
Just growing up, we kind of whined a little bit.
Yeah. But growing up, you need to have responsibility and do things, right? Look
Yeah.
at how well you turned out.
Oh, well-rounded, yes.
Yes, you are. I always say the best daughter I could have, anybody could ever have.
Yeah, I'm the only daughter too.
Oh. Oh, well, that's okay.
So you can say that. Best daughter when I'm the only daughter.
Yeah. But I says that anybody could have, so
Okay,
I did add
okay.
that. Okay, I think, that's about fine here with the sauteing, and let's just go, we'll put that over here into our bowl again with the hamburger.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna come over here. Now we're going to put the other 2 tablespoons or teaspoons of butter, no, it's tablespoons of butter in here.
Okay.
Get that melted. And then we're going to add the flour and just get that flour mixed into the butter a little bit before we add the chicken broth. And I did make my own chicken broth. It's, I have the granulated, or you can use the bouillon cubes or anything like that, and just add your water and stuff. So
well, it's surprising how many recipes that you do when you're cooking that you do need that, and it's an inexpensive way to.
It's a lot cheaper, yes. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour to this, and then I'm going to just stir that a little bit, and brown that just with that butter. And that won't take very long. And you want to make sure that you are stirring that so that would burn
Okay.
easily there. So
Anything with butter, if you just let it set, probably would, wouldn't it?
it would, and with your flour like that. Okay, so now I'm going to slowly add my 1 cup of chicken broth,
Okay.
and just kind of, stir a little bit so that flour is going to mix up there. So, you're going to have to stir a little bit, otherwise it will, be a little bit lumpy.
Okay.
But that'll just take a little bit there. And that's just a little bit of thickening in there so that when we put that in with the vegetables and that. But see, that just, and then it's a tablespoon of the Worcestershire sauce.
Okay.
Does that come?
I think you said it. I think we all know what you're talking about.
It'd come out okay. And then about half a teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
And, kind of if you make your own chicken broth, it's going to have a little bit of salt in there. And if you use a can of the low sodium salt, then, you're going to want to, add that half a teaspoon. But, be careful that you don't oversalt that.
Well, when you're serving it, that's something you can always add as you're serving the meal to add salt.
Right. Okay, so, and as you can see, well, the Worcestershire sauce made it a little brown too, but just browning that flour in with the butter a little bit made a difference there. So
Yep,
we're going to
that's thickening up as well.
come over here, and we're going to add that to this here.
Okay.
And I'm going to just scrape my pan a little bit here. My pan has the grooves in it, which I really like when, you're browning, chicken or pork chops or whatever, but otherwise, you have to clean them out a little bit when you're not using a flat pan.
Right, right.
Okay, so got that. We'll just set that over here. Okay. And I'm going to have you spray our pan.
Okay.
So let's mix this up here.
All right.
And then we're going to add 1.5 cups of frozen peas.
Okay.
So I have that here. They were frozen, so still sticking to my cup here. And if you have leftover mashed potatoes, that's great. If you don't, you certainly can make it very quick with using instant potatoes.
Okay.
And that's so. But it says for garlic mashed potatoes, and I made my own potatoes, and then I use some garlic salt, and then I also use some just crushed garlic. Garlic,
okay.
you know, the cloves and that, you know, and it gives it a really good flavor. You know, using the garlic salt right away gave it a little bit of, you know, you wanted to add a little bit of salt to it.
Right.
But then I didn't want to add too much, so then that's where I went to the cloves
Okay.
and stuff. So we're going to put that in our skillet here.
And this is pretty much, we got the vegetables in there. We got the complete meal going.
It is a complete meal. You know, the only thing, I mean, you could add if you wanted to have some, you know, bread, some biscuits, or, you know, anything like that, or that would be all, because you got everything here, your meat and your peas and all that. So we're going to set this aside.
Okay.
And then we're going to just, it says 2.5 cups of mashed potatoes. So, you know, I think when I was doing this, I probably got a little bit more than 2.5 cups, but just spread it on there. And being I did make these potatoes last night, then you have them in the fridge, they certainly get stiff. So I did put them in the microwave just to warm them up so that it would spread easily on here.
Okay.
And I whipped them really, really well with my electric mixer. And
Well, you're spreading like frosting.
yeah, it is. It just, but like I said, whipping them really very, you know, until they were really light and fluffy with that mixer made a big difference. You know, so, and you can just, you can smell the garlic a little bit, but that's great. You know, that gives it a, I mean, it's an extra little flavoring there. You know, it's kind of hard to waste that.
Well, what are you going to do with that? You just put that all over
Yeah,
there.
right. We just don't want to waste that 1/2 cup. Okay. So we'll set that aside. And then what we're going to do is we're going to top that with some grated cheddar cheese.
Okay.
And that. But, you know, I'm not going to put it on right away. I'm going to put it in the oven and go about 15 minutes, and then I'm going to add it.
Okay.
So I don't want the cheese to brown too much. So.
Okay.
All right, so I need to, but I'm not going to put my tray in there, so we'll just come over here and put that in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the oven, a timer for 15 minutes, and then I will put the cheese on it, and then we'll bake it for the remaining 15 minutes.
Perfect.
So in this time, we can put that cheesecake together. It's going to go so quickly.
Dessert's always the highlight of any meal.
We'll put that over here. And what I did was, and it's a matter of preference. This is a graham cracker crust. I used about 1/3 cup of, or a stick of margarine.
Okay.
And 2 cups of graham crackers. And I add probably a couple of tablespoons of sugar.
Okay.
And I like to add just a couple of sprinkles of nutmeg in it. That's just my own version of a graham cracker crust.
Okay.
Then I did bake it because I do like it baked.
A little bit crunchier.
Crunchier, but you do not have to bake it if you do not want to.
Okay.
So this recipe is from Terry Anner,
Okay.
and it is just so easy. We're going to whip up 2 8-ounce of cream cheese.
Okay.
So we'll put that in there. And then we're going to melt a cup of white chocolate chips.
This is different. I am so excited to see what this tastes
Yeah,
like.
you know, we're going to smelt that, and we'll put that in there and whip that really till it's nice and light.
Okay.
And then we're just going to fold in an 8-ounce carton of Cool Whip. That's it. So that's going to make it really easy, but it is very, very good. So. Get that in there and. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we'll just come over here and put that in the microwave. And I'm going to just put that in for a minute, and then I'm going to stir it. I don't want it to get too hot.
Okay,
or
yeah,
whatever.
because that will
So
scorch too in the microwave, won't it?
if you got to have it too long, it can very easily
Okay.
and stuff. So we're going to whip this up here, and like I said, we want to whip it, until it's nice and light. So it'll take a few minutes, and then we'll be back and show how it looks.
Awesome.
Okay. All right, we've whipped our cream cheese well.
Okay.
So, and we melted our white chocolate chips, and I had that in for a minute and stirred it really well, and then I put it back in for like 15 more minutes. And
15 more seconds?
Or 15 more seconds.
Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah,
15
that
minutes.
would. It would have been. Would have been burnt to a crisp. But anyway, then, you don't have to heat it up so much. Then, you just stir, and that's going to, melt all the chips and all that. So we're going to add that in here.
It's not something you probably want to make too hot, though, because you're putting it into cream cheese, and we're going to need to chill this, so.
And we're going to add our Cool Whip to it. So, like I said, yeah, you just want to get your chips melted, and that's it. So we'll get that in there. So now we're going to just whip that up a little bit more.
Okay. Get that blended.
Yeah. And of course, already just putting in the white chocolate chips, it makes it a little bit creamier, thinner already, so it'll spread very nice. So I'm going to just take that out and blend it a little bit. Get the sides there.
Now, are we going to fold in the Cool Whip, or are we going to put it in the mixture and have that mix in there as well?
We're going to fold it.
Okay.
Anytime you're using like Cool Whip or adding to something like that, your best is to fold it.
Okay.
Because, you whip it, you're going to get it it's going to be too thin. It gets like
Watery almost.
Right. Yeah. You want to keep it a nice consistency, texture to that. So. Okay. So we blended that really good. So I'll take that. And I did use my beater that's, more like for whipping, and that stuff. So that there. And I'm going to just,
How about this?
looks,
It's pretty smooth.
it is. That is really nice. So we'll just fold that in there. Okay. So just, any carton. One thing I have found when I have used the sugar-free, I had gotten a sugar-free, and it really is a lot different. I probably wouldn't use that for folding in like that, because, our buzzer's going off. So we're going to add our cheese to that. So let's just turn that off, and I'll bring that out, and we'll just, that already I can see it's just
Starting to bubble on the sides, and
Yep.
start smelling that already.
Yeah. And I know I have more than my half a cup of cheese here, but half a cup just doesn't.
Anytime you have to put something on it, you
Yeah.
toss something with cheese.
Yeah,
all right.
it just isn't that much. So I probably had about 3/4, almost to a cup of cheese
Okay.
here. So that's
It'll all work out good.
it will. So we're going to put that back into the oven and let that finish bake. So I'm going to set my timer for another 15 minutes. Okay. So we'll go back over here and finish up our cheesecake.
Okay.
And it's amazing how much filling you're going to have.
Well, yeah.
It's quite a bit. And it makes it, and it fills your cheesecake up or your 9 by 13 graham cracker crust really nice.
And I like this version of a cheesecake. I like the baked cheesecakes too. Those are New York style is always good, but this is something that's not as heavy after a meal like that we're making with the shepherd's pie. So
Right. And
it's a nice compliment.
those baked ones, they're excellent. But as easy as these are and as good as they are,
You don't always have to go that
you don't
far.
have to go to that extreme. So, and you can see that it has a nice consistency here. It's nice and light, but it's still very dense. There.
So this is something that obviously we're going to have to refrigerate. Is it something that you just pop in the fridge for an hour, or how long do we have to chill this before we serve it?
A couple of hours would be the best.
Okay,
And
overnight?
but overnight is great. You know, it's nice to make it the night before, if or whenever you have the time to do it and stuff. So we'll just spread that out, and then you can put any topping on here that you would like. We'll put it in the fridge, but family really likes blueberries, so I'm going to put a can of blueberries on that.
I think we got a universal theme going here. The shepherd's pie was spread in white mashed potatoes, and this is white cream cheese. So
Yes, that looks nice, but like I said, it makes a nice filling. There's
Yes.
quite a bit there. You wouldn't maybe think it would be that much. So we're going to put that in the fridge, and we're going to wait for our shepherd's pie, and we will be back. So, well, we're going to top our cheesecake with just some blueberry pie filling.
okay,
And again, with this, you choose your favorite topping. You know, another topping I thought that the kids would really like is some Heath toffee bacon.
absolutely.
Wouldn't that be kind of neat to put on top of that cheesecake too?
Yeah, you don't always have to have a fruit filling. Even just reserving some of the crumbles from the crust is always a nice topping too.
Just a little to add a touch to it and stuff. Because yeah, you wouldn't necessarily need to even put anything on it, because that cheesecake in itself is just delicious.
But if you like blueberries, go for it.
Absolutely.
If you like cherries, go for it.
Yeah, just it. You know, I guess our favorite still is blueberries, pretty much. You know, I did see something that I've not used before is a mixed berry too. I think that would be
Oh, something different.
great on that.
Yep.
Just get that spread out there, and very easy to spread because that cheesecake is, you know, that filling, it isn't really soft or watery, or I shouldn't say watery, but just thin, that it
Right.
takes a long time to set up. It doesn't. So we'll set that aside, and it looks like we've just got like a minute or so in our shepherd's pie, and we can bring that out. And you know, even just kind of peeking in here, it's just a bubbling away.
Oh, it looks
So,
awesome.
You know, that minute that I have on the oven, I think we could just kind of cancel that
All
and
right.
bring it out. So I'll just,
Cheese
that-
is melted and it's hot.
it
and bubbling.
is. Then we'll just put that casserole in our tray here. Let's see. Oh,
That looks awesome.
there. Okay, so we'll bring that right on over here. Oh, we better
we
take
don't-
out a spoon.
Okay.
You know, one of our bigger spoons here to that out and feature that. So we'll just come over here and get a plate. And we'll also need something to take out a nice piece of our cheesecake here.
Yes.
On that. So I'm going to let you take out the cheesecake, and I'm going to just take out a little bit of this shepherd's pie here. Oh,
Great.
is that coming out pretty good?
Well, I'm not quite the cutter that you are, so I probably, you know, I know that you could have done better. Mom.
It'll taste just as good. All right. Yeah. And then, you know, just seeing this here with cheese on top of the potatoes and that, doesn't that look just like a nice...
Perfect.
Yeah,
And like you were saying earlier, a biscuit or even a nice breadstick or something to go with that
would be
perfect.
Right.
You don't need much more. That is a perfect meal right there.
Absolutely.
To get these recipes, just go to Consolidated's website, www.ctctel.com. Please submit your recipes for us to cook for you. Thank you, Terry Anna, for submitting another awesome recipe. We love everything you submit to us. She's a cousin, so I know it's all in the family. As always, thank you to the Workshop for being our sponsor. Thanks also for joining us, and have a great night.